right, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Disney with the Ducks. This is episode number 37, and we are doing some Dopey planning today. When this comes out, we're going to be coming up on our dining reservation window opening for a lot of us. So we're going to just kind of go around for the people that are here that are going to be down for Marathon Weekend and talk about what we're going to be doing, our park days, and where we want to try to eat and some things like that, and just talk about our upcoming trips. We have tonight joining us, we have Lonnie.
Hello, everybody.
We have Kevin.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
And we have Jodie joining myself today.
Hello, everyone.
You'll notice that Gene is not joining us on our Dopey planning because Gene's side of Dopey planning is whatever Lonnie tells him to do. So he is kind of sitting this one out, and he'll follow Lonnie around the parks. And so we don't really need him for the planning portion of that.
Right.
So,
There's nothing wrong with that statement at all that you just said. It's not crazy at all.
So before we get started here, let's kind of go around and get to know each other a little bit better. And let's talk about what our favorite sweet treat is when we go down to Disney World. What is that one dessert or sweet thing that we're kind of looking forward to here coming up in the next few months? So Lonnie, do you have one in mind that just you can't wait to sink your teeth into?
Yeah, well, initially I would think any cookie from Gideon's, but I'm going to go with the hummingbird cake from Art Smith's Homecoming.
Is it made with real hummingbirds?
I hope not, because I like hummingbirds. But if it is, they're very tasty.
Are the beaks crunchy? Like, is there do you have that? They grind this up nice.
It has the right consistency.
Okay.
What's in the hummingbird cake?
And what is that?
It's like bananas and pineapple, really fluffy. Has this cream cheese kind of filling topping on it. I would highly suggest everyone try it.
I've never tried it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not either.
Yeah. So if you like bananas, you're a fan of pineapple, it's for you.
All right. What about you, Kevin? What's your go-to sweet treat while you're down there?
So dessert-wise, I really like the tie-dye cheesecake at Pop. That's really good. I know that it doesn't taste any different because it's different colors, but it's fun to eat. And then I'll cheat a little bit, and so not necessarily dessert, but something I always get that is sweet. And I consider it a treat after running several miles. I go get the Mickey waffles, and I try to get a bunch of those at least 2 race weekend mornings. After a race, that really hits the spot. So
good. What about you, Jodie? Is there one particular foodie sweet treat that you enjoy?
I think I'm always so full after the 9 million courses of food that I eat that I often don't get to dessert. But in July when we were there, I had No Way Jose, which I'm a big chocolate peanut butter fan. So that was delicious. But I also liked the cookie num num in Hollywood Studios, just the plain old chocolate. I kind of am a plain chocolate chip cookie girl. I'm of the belief that the fancier the dessert looks, the worse it tastes. So I like the plain. But Lonnie, I don't know. I forgot about going to Disney Springs and Gideon's. So if Gideon's would have that peanut butter chocolate cold brew cookie that they had when we were there, I would be right back there because that was the dish.
that sounds good.
That would be a good one. So I'm kind of torn about what mine is. I'm not sure. I enjoy the cookies from Gideon's. Those are pretty good. I like the beignets that you can get at Port Orleans Riverside or French Quarter. I'm sorry. But I think my go-to sweet treat is the cinnamon roll. Now everybody's going to say, "Ooh, the Gaston cinnamon roll, the great big loaf of bread with a lot of icing on it." And that's not the cinnamon roll you go for. So you go to Animal Kingdom, and right as you're going towards the actual safari, there's a little place. It's in a little alcove off to the left-hand side, and they have the best cinnamon rolls there. They have a little bit of icing on them, a little bit of honey. They're the Mickey-shaped ones, so they're kind of like the ones you get at the Starbucks on Main Street, but those are my go-to sweet treat, I think.
Okay, so it's not the Starbucks location, though, at Animal Kingdom. It's past that?
It's past that. It's almost to the safari. So right before you get to the safari, you have that little gift shop off to the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Straight across on the other side of the walkway from that, on the left-hand side, is kind of sits back in a little alcove. You can easily walk by if you're not paying attention, but they have the best cinnamon rolls there.
I've never been there.
I've never been there.
Well, Lonnie, perhaps you want to try it on Wednesday, January 4th.
Bam, nice.
So I feel like I'm a little bit left out on the whole Gideon's thing. So I've never been.
You will. Okay, we'll make
And I'm
sure you do
excited.
that this weekend.
I want
We
y'all
will
to make
rectify
it
that.
there.
Yeah,
I definitely want to
do
do that.
We got you covered.
Just bring your arm weights because each cookie weighs like 25 pounds. So get ready to
Right.
like pump your iron when you pick one
Yeah.
up.
And they last about 3 days.
Mhm.
So it takes a lot to get through them.
Yeah.
But we'll hook you up whenever we go down this week in January.
I don't
Awesome.
think you can eat one whole cookie in one sitting.
No.
I just don't think you can. I can't, and I eat a lot.
And Jodie feels ashamed because she clearly has.
Nick can. I hear your challenge, Lonnie. And
Challenge accepted.
Hey, okay.
All right. So before we just talking about some of our other meals we're doing and the desserts we're coming through, let's talk about when we're all getting in for Marathon Weekend. So Lonnie, when do you get into town?
I get in Wednesday around noon.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kevin,
About 9:30 on Wednesday.
are you about the same, Jodie?
9:39 on Wednesday morning.
Nice. And me and my buddy Dave, who's coming down and staying with me and running his first marathon, we're getting in on Tuesday night. Originally, it was supposed to get in about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, but Southwest changed our flight by 10 minutes. So that allows us to have a free change. And we picked up the earlier 4 o'clock flight. So we get in at 6 o'clock in the evening. And it didn't cost us any extra money. And that flight was about $100 more than our flight. So I'll count that as a win.
That's
Yeah.
And
we're getting in.
that is a win.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm a little nervous about flying in Wednesday morning in the height of winter, as opposed to last year we flew in on Tuesday night. But I figured if we're taking the first flight down, we should hopefully be okay. So
That's
Yeah.
the same rationale I took.
I'm always nervous too, Jody. And last time Gene and I met in Dallas, we had like 30 minutes to get to our plane.
Ooh.
So it's in this time I have 40 minutes. So I'm hoping I can get there in time. But the whole plane was full of people running races.
I was gonna say, good thing you're a runner, Lonnie, because you can run through the airport to get to your plane.
And I will.
Where are you connecting, Lonnie?
Dallas.
Dallas.
Mhm.
Is Gene meeting you in Dallas as well? And then you guys are flying out from there?
Okay, so don't tell Gene I said this. But so I've been harassing Gene to get his flight, right? So he got his flight and he sent me a text. He's like, dude, I got my flight. And I was like, what time do you get in? And he says, oh man, I get in at like 10. And I'm like, what flight are you on? And he says, oh wait, this is 10 p.m. I messed up. I got to go back. That's the last I heard. So I don't know what happened after that, but I'm assuming he's not getting that 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So hopefully he did change it. But as of now, it's still 10 p.m. I think.
He
right.
makes me smile. He makes me smile.
So since we're the only ones getting in on Tuesday, I think our plan for Tuesday is going to be very low key. We have no park days planned. We're checking in at Copper Creek. So I think the plan for that is just kind of explore the resort a little bit. I hope to hit Geyser Point and sit there on the waterfront and have a few drinks.
I have
and
never.
watch.
Oh, it's
You should come in Tuesday and visit with us.
I would love to, but yeah, it's not happening.
Well, they have a new menu. I think I saw on the video. There's a new couple of barbecue things. One of them is burnt ends with a potato hash or something, and with a couple of ribs. It's a combination plate. I saw a review for it on YouTube. So I think they got some new stuff at Geyser Point. You may be happy to try.
Hey, I'm all game for that.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's our plan for Tuesday, just kind of taking it easy and enjoying the resort a little bit, getting off our feet a little bit, and just kind of settling in, getting ready for the next 5 mornings of earliness.
Mhm.
So,
Unless the Springs call you, because sometimes the Springs call and you have to answer.
I don't know. I think I can hold off. Knowing the rest of the week that's coming up, I think I can fight
But
that
don't
urge.
you want to go straight to the Springs and get your buddy Kevin a Gideon's cookie right away to guarantee that he gets that experience?
And
I think
some Blight Pig.
I definitely want to go to Flat Pig sometime.
So I'm just saying, you know.
All right. So you guys are all flying in Wednesday then.
Correct.
So Wednesday morning, we're getting up bright and early, and we'll be hitting the expo in line just as you guys are getting to the airports to head into town, I think is kind of what the plan is there.
Mhm.
So I know the lines for the expo tend to get very, very busy. So I don't know if Dave is excited about getting up so early, or if he'll be joining me that early or meeting me there later. But I think I'm getting a list of items that some of my fellow ducks and friends are not getting to town soon enough, wanting me to pick up for them. So I've got to do my duty there and get in line early to make sure they get their stuff they need. So
I have such fond memories last year, Jeff, of you and Carly and Tim and I with piles of stuff over
trying
because there's no dressing room. We're just kind of throwing stuff on and off and checking things out. And should I get this or should I not get this? And I ended up getting neither Tim or I bought any clothing of any type that day. I bought pins and an ornament, I think. So we ended up not buying, after all of that, not buying anything. I kind of like the playing look, and everything lately has been a little too in your face.
Right.
So I chose not to purchase anything. So
that was an experience for us because that was the day we didn't know what Carly was going to accomplish or what she was doing. So we kind of bought several different race outfits because she wanted something for the races she completed, but not knowing what she was doing is kind of hard. So we ended up taking back some stuff, sold a couple of things to some of the other lizards who didn't get what they wanted, but we actually had it. So it worked out good for us. We weren't one of the eBay people that were making money on it. That wasn't our style, but we helped out some of our friends that couldn't be there whenever they needed to. So it worked out. So you guys will then be flying in the morning. So you're heading straight to the expo. Is that the plan?
Well, for me, I think I'm going to go drop my bags off at Pop.
That's what I'm going to do.
And then from there, straight to the expo.
I'm hoping to make a grocery run before we go to the resort, because there's a couple things that I'd like to get to help sustain me for the week.
And also, like you said, I mean, if you're just going to the expo to get your bib and that kind of thing, if you're there at the very beginning, the line is going to be crazy long. If you wait just a little bit, it'll lessen up a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, now you won't be able to get what you want, but you can get in and out, which is good.
You get in and out,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if all you want is your bib and shirts and no merchandise, I would wait and go later in the day. So
I actually went back to the expo last year on, what's the day that we all had breakfast? The 10K day?
I think so.
Yes.
So I went back to Tim had a bunch of conference calls. Yeah, that was Friday. And he had a bunch of calls. So I went back to the expo to the vendor booth section, not the Run Disney stuff, but the actual vendors, because there were a couple things that I just wanted to check and see. So that was nice. There was no one there. It was great. Walk right through, no crowds, no problem. So it was kind of nice.
So how are you guys getting from the airport to Disney? Do you guys have that figured out yet? We're kind of
Magical Express.
So Lonnie's taking a time machine back to here.
I'll be out there waiting, like, where's this Magical Express?
I've been
here 5 hours. What's going on here? Yeah.
So last year, or this year, I guess, I did the Mears bus, which worked out okay. But this time, Jodie and Tim have been nice enough to let me tag along with them. So I'm gonna ride with them.
Well, once I realized our flight was about the same, landing at the same time, and we're going to the same resort, I'm like, just jump in the, I think it's an SUV. I mean, I know I bring a lot of stuff to race weekends. I mean, a lot of stuff. So don't be embarrassed when you see all my luggage. But I think we can fit Kevin in his luggage too.
Well, Jodie, you've done them. You had to pack for 800 degrees, and you have to pack for -30. So it's best to be overpacked, I find, and under and have to buy everything at Disney prices. So that's smart.
And the newspaper. I was listening to a running podcast. Someone was complaining about last year's Wine and Dine raining the entire 5K. And she was like, and then I couldn't wear my shoes the next day. I'm like, because you didn't pack newspaper. The newspaper, you'd be fine.
Pack the newspaper. Yeah,
that's a key thing.
Yeah. I just take an Uber, Jeff. I mean, it's anywhere from $35 to $40, and it brings me straight there. So I usually Uber there and back to the airport.
I think that's kind of what we're leaning towards as well. We're just kind of playing it by ear a little bit. We don't have anything set in stone yet. So I think that's probably the way we're going as well. So
I'm excited to see that new terminal. I don't know if we're flying into it. Probably not, but I don't know if you guys saw the new terminal with the automated bag pulling and all that kind of good stuff. I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Southwest doesn't fly into that one. So we will be.
Yeah, I'm American.
Yeah.
So.
Delta.
So after we hit the expo, what's our plans for Wednesday? Do we have anything going on Wednesday?
Yeah, I've got plans for the Animal Kingdom. So all you Animal Kingdom experts, that's probably the one park that I know the least about, and I'm most excited to learn more about from you guys.
Yeah.
And make it one of my favorite parks. So I'm
So I
excited.
know on our Animal Kingdom day, I guess the list of things to accomplish is one, Jodie has to ride Everest.
Yes.
That hasn't went well for her the last couple trips. So
It is not. It doesn't like me. The Yeti's mad at me.
And I've never rode Avatar. Flight of Passage.
really,
No,
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Every time I've been, the line has been so long that it was impossible.
All right. So, what are you guys thinking? Genie Plus, just to make sure we get Everest and Flight of Passage?
I'm on it.
Flight of Passage
Flight
is
of
not
Passage
a
is
part
not.
of Genie Plus. It's an individual lightning lane.
Lightning lane, yeah.
So you'd have to pay extra.
Yeah, but we can make sure we get Everest for you.
Is that worth $15 or $17 for one ride though? The Animal Kingdom's kind of a rough day for Genie Plus. There's not a whole lot of advantage that you're getting out of that one.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. So we can do just the individual lightning lanes if you
I might
like.
do that. I've got to ride Flight of Passage.
Yeah,
That's
I
my-
would pay individual lightning lane for Flight of Passage, and that single rider lane at Everest goes pretty fast. So I would do that at Everest. And if that's the only two things I did at Animal Kingdom, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Because
Okay. Summer
We
right
have to
down
get
here
a
to the lightning lane.
what did I mess up?
We got to stop at Nomad Lounge. So
Yeah, I'll stop in Nomad Lounge.
Tell me all the good stuff.
they have the best, like it's a lobster mac and cheese there. It's real
Nice.
good. So.
Mhm.
I'm hoping it's we had a not great experience at Tiffin's a couple of years ago. So I'm hoping that my experience at Nomad Lounge will be better. I've only been to Nomad Lounge for beverages, not for food.
So do you guys want to try to get a reservation or walk up?
They don't do
They don't do
reservations,
reservations?
not for the lounge.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But
Hmm.
I
Okay.
think we'll be okay. And if we have to, if you guys are waiting in line for or doing a lightning lane for Flight of Passage, that's something that I probably won't buy a lightning lane for, but I'll go get in line at Nomad Lounge and I'll save the spot for you. We'll divide and conquer a little bit. So
I'm all
I'll
for
go-
that.
So for me, for Wednesday night, that's the one night that I'm not worried about exactly what I eat. That's when I'll have cheap food and bad food because it's a 5K the next day and it's not timed. And if it takes me 5 hours, it takes me 5 hours. So, if that's a day that we want to eat, and the one thing we have to remember about Animal Kingdom is it normally closes pretty early. In particular, in the wintertime, it closes really early. So we'll have to pay attention to see if we want to eat there for dinner, if we want to skedaddle elsewhere. But just something, I mean, they haven't, as far as I know, they haven't released park hours. Have you seen it yet, Lonnie, on touring plans?
They keep changing them. So I'll check right now to see what the hours
Yeah,
are.
I'm on the actual My Disney Experience app, and I don't see park hours listed on there so far. But
I don't know if you heard me or not, Jody, but they have lobster mac and cheese at Nomad Lounge. So I think you missed this part of we're eating lobster mac and cheese at Nomad Lounge.
okay,
He's so angry when he wants to like.
Do I need to have that before or after I ride something that's going to make me dizzy?
Nah, you'll be fine.
Flight of Passage won't make you. I don't think it will make you dizzy.
No, it won't.
You'll be good to go. So even with the early park closure, it's probably not a bad day for you guys to have an early park close. You're going to be early mornings with your flights. You're going to have a busy day hitting the expo, hitting the parks, and just kind of getting settled in. So an early bed night, getting ready for the 5K is probably not the most horrible idea anyway. So I think that covers most of our Wednesday planning of the expo. Let's move into Thursday. We're looking at the 5K day.
2:30 in the morning.
2:30. First bus is at 3. So how are you? What are you guys' thoughts on busing? Are you on the first bus? Are you always down there for the first bus? Do you like we can get there later? What's your thoughts here?
I'm following Lonnie.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
Go ahead, Jody.
I don't need to be on the first bus. I'm okay with. I don't. I'm heading down there about 3:10. I don't need to be on the very, very first one.
Yeah.
And I think at Pop, those buses, I was so impressed last year.
You did a
Those
good
buses
job.
were lined up, ready to go. I stayed at Coronado at the tower for both Princess and Wine and Dine, and I don't think the buses were nearly as good there as they were at Pop. At Pop, I just felt like they were queued up, ready to go. Like they're fill that bus, go, fill that bus, go, fill that bus, go.
They were on time.
Yeah, I'm like Jodie with the 5K. It's kind of like, let's just get there when we do. In fact, I think one was it a 5K or the 10K? Nope, it was the half when I actually ran into Jodie and Tim on the bus getting on. So for that, yeah, I'm kind of good on the 5K. I'm not too worried about it. Maybe the third bus or so, maybe I'll hop on it.
Does Pop share buses with anybody else, or is it just a dedicated bus?
No.
Just
Dedicated bus.
Okay. So that's a little bit where I think we're a little different coming from Copper Creek, because our bus actually hits Fort Wilderness, Copper Creek, and the Contemporary before it heads over. So I think that mentality changes for me a little bit as far as wanting to be on the first bus versus one that's going to have multiple stops before it heads over to Epcot. So Dave, if you're listening, 3 a.m. first bus, we're on it. Don't listen to these other guys. It's okay for the 3:10 bus because I have a whole bunch of them and they don't go anywhere else. So
what happens if you're at the Contemporary and like if your bus already was filled at the first 2 stops? Does it just not even go there?
Yesterday.
Oh, you ran yesterday.
Last year when we were at the Contemporary, every resort had one bus to start, apparently already sitting there. And then, so the first bus was empty for each of the resorts to start with. And then they just kind of rotated through there. So,
Pretty good.
And Fort Wilderness is a bigger resort. Wilderness Lodge isn't quite as big. Contemporary obviously has a 2. So I think they're okay with the volume of buses, but just to be on the safe side, the first one's probably the way to go for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we won't go into full details of race mornings, corrals, things like that. I think we've covered that on some of the other shows, but the main thing to talk about is Jodie's biggest question she has for Marathon Weekend: to costume or not to costume. So what are we thinking here, guys?
I think the shorter runs are the days to do that, not whenever it's hot and it's 1,000,000 miles. So those are the first 2 days are usually the best for that.
Yeah. I've ran past many a ill-fitted costume on half marathons, just laying on side the road, gave up the ghost. Not the time.
Yeah, I am up for a costume for the 5K. I can suffer through as long as there's enough body glide in places, then I can suffer through a 5K costume. I just don't want to hold something. I think that's when we were there for Wine and Dine, it was the villains theme, and there was a someone holding like the plate of poisons and stuff, and I'm like, no, I would not hold that tray for any amount of miles. That would be annoying to me. So
so you're saying carrying something like this for 3.5 or 3.1 miles might be a little much?
But to each their own. I mean, that's great for you all. For those who are listening and did not see that, Jeff just held up a plant for that they're going to use as a prop for their Wine and Dine race weekend. But yeah, I don't want to hold anything.
I'll be honest, I don't costume, so.
Well, you may be this year, Lonnie.
Okay.
I know
if we all do something, I'll join in.
I think it'd be fun to do something. I mean, Tim and I were Minnie and Mickey one year. That was simple. Black shirt. I had a polka dot skirt. We had white gloves. That was easy. But I think we can think of something, don't you?
I think we can come up with something, and then we'll put out in the group early enough that if somebody else wants to join us, if they don't have any costume ideas and they want to, if we can do something that's inclusive for other people, and they want to theme up, then they can add into it too. But I think 5K will probably plan to do something.
We could be the seagulls. We could be the mine seagulls, and I'll have a shirt that says mine. That would be a white shirt. That would be easy.
That would be easy
because it's a bird. Ducks. We're ducks, so they're ducks and seagulls are friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would assume so.
I would assume cousins, maybe. I don't.
All right. So what are we doing after the race on the 5K? I think we tend to walk the race, except for whenever the photo pass people were there. You see the green tent. You got to run for the green tents.
Mhm.
I've been working on my jumps, so hopefully those will be a little better this year than they were last year. But I think after the 5K is over, get out of the costumes, and what are we doing that day?
We are going to Epcot.
That sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I'm
my
excited
hope-
about Guardians.
My hope is that Guardian still has I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really like the way that they're running Guardians right now with the
Virtual queues.
virtual queues. So I'm hoping still in January they'll have that. Because if not, it's going to be an individual lightning lane and it's going to be expensive. So I'm hoping they'll still have virtual queues.
I have nothing against the virtual queues. It's
Yeah.
the morning ones go very quickly, but the
Mhm.
afternoon ones tend to be around for a while. You're not waiting in line for 3 or 4 hours at standby. They tell you when it's there. You walk back through the line. I don't see a problem with them. If they were gone where you could never get them, it'd be one thing. But the fact that you can get them so late into the afternoon on the afternoon ones,
Mhm.
I see nothing wrong with it.
I think they've improved the system. When they first started with it with Rise and you had to be in the park and you had to tap in, that whole nonsense, that was a nightmare. But I think now the way they have it is much nicer. So I don't mind them.
As far as meals for that day, I know we're tentatively thinking possibly getting an ale and compass breakfast that morning. Kind of depends on what's happening with the virtual queues with Guardians. If there's a standby line or whatever, we might have to forego that. But I think we're leaning towards that. Is that kind of what everybody's thinking? Is an ale and compass breakfast following the 5K?
Yeah.
All in on that.
Yum.
And
Blueberry pancakes, blueberry
Oh,
bacon
I
pancakes.
can't wait.
Yeah. And I might be the only one, but we're gonna try to get the Guardians lightning lane, but I also may do Guardians virtual queue, but I may do a lightning lane too, just because I want to experience like Tim did. I
want that.
Ride it twice. Right. So, but I'm all for ale and compass breakfast because they have the shrimp and grits.
right.
So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'll probably do the lightning lane also on Guardians.
Yeah. So I get to ride it twice, maybe, hopefully.
That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the must-dos of Epcot Day? What are we kind of thinking? Do you have to ride anything? Are we just kind of wandering the showcase, or we want to stay off our feet and just kind of hit some shows, get a few drinks places? What are we thinking, guys?
What's the last thing you said?
Huh?
What's the last thing you said?
Stay off our feet, get some drinks.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That one.
Yeah. Yeah, we may have to just, visit, the world and kind of see what they have on tap.
I wouldn't mind trying to get over to Homecoming possibly for dinner that night, just because Tim's never been there. I don't know if we can. I don't know if I want to leave Epcot to go over there because Epcot has such great food, but it's a thought because I could definitely eat Homecoming and not have a upset stomach, too much for a 10K. So because I feel like if I'm going to do that meal, I've got to do it earlier in the week.
Yeah, depending on the time, if it's okay with you, I may join you because there's no other time we talked about actually going to Homecoming. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that, Kevin, but I'm all for a little Homecoming on that day.
I want to go at least one time, and earlier the better for me too. So
yeah, because the next day we do have
I don't want to do it before a half marathon. Yeah.
So that might be something to do after we hit Epcot for a little bit, have a few drinks. Maybe we'll head over to the Springs that evening and kind of check out things. We can look for Art Smith Homecoming. I've never been there, so I've never eaten there. It is high on my list of refillable drink places. So I'll make sure I take my water bottles, and maybe that's something we do in the evening there too.
Okay, so I'm going to put a question mark for that, or maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know about you guys, but with the exception of maybe, like you said, Flight of Passage, Kevin, Jodie wants to get on Expedition Everest. I think we all want to do Guardians. To me personally, there's very few rides I have to do this weekend at all. That's not my biggest draw for this trip. I know it's hard to separate a Disney trip from a run trip because you're there at the same place. But that was one of my big mistakes last year, was just trying to make sure I got on all the rides and do things, and it killed my feet. There's a few that I want to hit here and there, but I'm just kind of along for the ride. And if I'm seeing shows, I'm off my feet, I'm hanging out with the friends, I'm cool with that. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I don't have to ride everything. I don't like Ratatouille. I don't have to do that.
Right.
That'll probably be a long line to kind of stand in, to
Right.
get to it. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. But as long as my main purpose in Epcot is Guardians, because I haven't done it. And you guys know I'm still a little bitter about that. I feel about Guardians like Jodie feels about Expedition Everest. I got to get on it.
Yeah. It's well worth it. I mean, I think I've been on it now 6 times, and because July and this September. So yeah, I think I've been on it 6 times. So.
We're right in that same ballpark. So
yeah, and I would go on it over and over and over again if I could.
And if we need to kill some time in the afternoon at Epcot, Jodie can check out the DVC Lounge now that she.
I can't.
Yep. So that's something we can look forward to doing as well. We can go up there, have some drinks, not alcoholic. There's not alcoholic, but some snacks. And it's a nice place to just kind of recharge your batteries for a little bit, get out of the heat, and get off your feet. And so that's something we could check out as a group, because I think we can each take 5 people a piece up. So we can make that work as well. So
sweet.
We will plan that too.
Okay.
Nice.
So we have Thursday and Friday. Friday's Epcot. Thursday, of course, Animal Kingdom.
Nope.
Right?
You're
no, I got him behind.
Yep. We have Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday.
So now we're
dates.
Friday, January 6th.
10K day.
10K day.
Now, costume or not to costume, I'd say it's kind of up in the air for the 10K too. That one doesn't matter to me either. I can take it or leave it. If we decide as a group to do it, I'm good with it. If not, I'm okay with not. What's the thoughts on that?
I know we talked about maybe doing something military based. That or just some bounding, nothing crazy. And I may do something for my charity that day. I may wear a hat or shirt for the charity.
Okay.
So.
Nice. Yeah, once I get over 5 miles, I got to be careful on what I wear. So,
yeah.
Now, do you plan to run the 5K, or the 10K, or are you walking the 10K too?
That would be an appropriate question for Mr. Binning.
But Mr. Binning does not have a training plan that he follows.
I know he doesn't.
You don't have the plan.
Jeff, I can't do that.
You might have to cut all that out. What happened just now?
Well,
he doesn't listen.
Like we did this year, if we hold the tape up, because we held the tape up for the 10K, right?
That we did.
We went out of the gates like a banshee. I mean,
not all of us.
Not
all of us. That was only one person that led the charge up that hill.
And she was very upset by it when she looked back and there was nobody else with her. I know we're not talking about all the race stuff, but if the course is similar to last year, make sure you use the restrooms before you take off on the 10K, because we were about 2.5 miles out and I was dying.
It was bad.
Oh, that's funny. They only have like 1,000 bathrooms before the corral, but that's okay.
Right.
We was like, we got to do it right when you pass it. And it was like, Disney said, no, you're not.
So following the 10K, I think that's our backup day for Alien Compass Breakfast, because that's our studios day. So it's walkable into the studios, and this is nice backup in case we don't have the virtual queues and we have to get in line early for Guardians. Then we can get the Alien Compass on Friday, have that breakfast, because I think it's a kind of a priority for most of us. I think that it's kind of a And then obviously, like I said, Friday is our studios day. So what's on the agenda for Friday? What's the studios have in store for us? Anything special?
Oh my gosh, I think if Gene and Kevin don't go over to Galaxy's Edge, we all may get murdered. So I think we're definitely have to spend some time over there.
Are we lightning and laning that day too?
I may.
Okay.
So to me, the only park that makes sense to buy Genie Plus is the studios. And this is just my opinion, because I love Rockin', I love Tower, I like Mickey and Minnie, I like Slinky Dog, I like a lot of those rides. And so if I again, I'm not there to necessarily ride them, like that's not the purpose of this weekend, but if I can get them in, I just know last year, gosh, we were Dopey and her husband and who else was with? Oh, Reggie was with us, and we were in line for Mickey and Minnie for like 150 years. And it was so hot. It was so blasted hot.
Yeah.
It was awful. And the line said like 20 minutes. We were in line for like 75. It was miserable. And I don't want to repeat that. So if I'm going to splurge on a Genie Plus day, that would probably be the only day that I do it. But I don't even know if I'm going to do it because, I've done all those before. So
I may do that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I like what you're thinking. I may Genie Plus that day because I do like Tower of Terror. I haven't been on it in a while. That's probably one of my top 3 favorite rides. So I'm gonna probably Genie Plus that day. Why not? We can do the Millennium Falcon ride, Kevin. I know like I said, we're gonna be back there by 2. We might as well buy 2 it. Lightning Lane, Rise of Resistance, and I really like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway as well too, and Slinky Dog. So now you think about it, I got to do it because it's just so many good things there.
The only thing with your Tower of Terror, I'm sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
I was going to say I would do that just for Slinky Dog and the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing, Lonnie, with your Tower of Terror, is
I've never been.
Never been where, Kevin?
On Tower of Terror. It's by choice though, because I'm not good with drops.
Oh,
man, you missed it out.
That's like my one goal picture I wanted from this trip.
You
all of us
Yeah.
on Tower of Terror together.
I might be able to do it if y'all can.
Can we bring signs that say Disney with the ducks and hold them up?
Sure.
Because Tim and I like to bring newspaper or books or something. We think we're silly, but like if I give everybody a piece of paper that says Disney with the ducks, we each hold one up.
Absolutely.
Kevin, would you go on it if you're?
I would consider it with you guys. Yeah.
All right, Kevin. So right outside of Tower of Terror, there's a Joffrey's cart.
Yes.
We'll get you a drink. We'll drink you through the line. And by the time you get on the Tower of Terror, you'll be a little tipsy and you'll be fine. So, but that was one of my goal pictures from this trip, is to get all of us on the Tower of Terror together. That was kind of.
Well, if that's your goal, I'll do it.
Oh, all right, friend.
So what are we thinking for meals that day? That's Friday at the studios. I know, Jodie, you have.
So Tim and I are probably going to hop over to Epcot that night. Not that I think it's the best meal in all of Walt Disney World property, but the hibachi in Japan, that's a very it's got everything that I need, carbs and light and lean protein and some veggies. And it really worked well for Tim and I for the half last year. So I think we're going to hop over to Epcot to do hibachi again. So and we had like a 4:30 or 5 o'clock reservation. Like we were eating with the old people, but it was great. Like food digest, we walked around a little bit and then went back. So.
I know for us, Dave was interested in doing Mama Melrose before the half. So I think we're going to go for a reservation there and see. We'll get them for multiple people. So I know Lonnie, Kevin, Jean, Joey's going to be inside Hollywood Studios that day too. So if people want to join us, they certainly can, but obviously don't feel obligated. But I think that's kind of the route we're going to head to for dining that day. So a little carbs, little protein, nothing too outrageous there. I think it'd be a decent meal for that. What are you thinking, Lonnie?
Now, just trying to wrap my mind around it. So we're ale and compasses in the morning, but in the afternoon, maybe. And then, okay.
The problem with ale, like what we're running into with breakfast, is it's all about
the virtual queue.
And quite frankly, I think we all feel like Guardians is more important than pancakes.
It is.
I mean, I know we love those, but so that's the problem with breakfast, is fitting it in on the day. And the idea was going to Epcot on the 5K day, because if you get it early, the 5K won't take you 100 years. So you would have time to get back and get over to Epcot. So if you got an early boarding group, you'd be okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of play it by ear a little bit. So
Jeff, what happens if you book an Ale and Compass and then you find out you get a boarding group that morning?
If you get a boarding group, eat your breakfast and then go over. It doesn't matter. The boarding groups, from what they've done so far, is because we had that same problem with Space 220 and Ratatouille. Our Space 220 meal took about 2.5 hours, and we were almost 3 hours late for Ratatouille. And they said, "Don't worry about it." Scanned us in, and we went right through. And I've heard people who have booked their Guardians and they got an early boarding group and they were still at home and they hadn't flown into the airport and they weren't until the afternoon and they scanned them in later and they were okay.
Yeah, I just don't know about also eating before going on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring something to take. I've heard stuff about.
At the first aid station over at the Odyssey, they will give you motion sickness pills. And it makes a big difference. So that is well worth the stop there. So I think that covers most of our 10K day, right? Do we have anything else to discuss on our Hollywood Studios day?
No.
Nope. All right. So early bed night again after the Hollywood Studios day.
Now it's getting serious. Now it's less play.
Now the fun starts.
More work.
Yeah. Third day in a row or fourth day in a row after the flight.
Right.
So it starts getting real.
Absolutely. So we're getting up early again. First bus, get to those corrals. We do the half now and then go back, shower. This is Saturday. What's our plan for Saturday? What are we thinking, guys?
Kevin, what's on the plan for Saturday?
So I don't have a plan for a park on Saturday. My plan on that day is to try to rest my feet, try to hydrate as much as I possibly can, watch what I eat, be carefully choose different things. Don't eat cheeseburgers and French fries for every meal and end up with all kinds of problems the next day. So I try to keep it light. I try to make it an early day and, I'll definitely be trying to find a good place to get something healthier to eat and that kind of thing. But I'm not planning on being on my feet at the parks all day on that day. And that served me well in the past.
Yep.
What about you, Lonnie? Where are you going that day?
Last year, I think we just same thing. We skipped the parks. I think we went to Steakhouse 71. I don't think I'm gonna go in the parks just because I know Saturday now Jeff, this is the day that we talked about going over to the Springs, right?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, I'd probably just go to the Springs because I've never been to Wine Bar George. So
I'm
we
all
may
in
go over
on
there. Around what time, Jeff?
I think about 4:30.
Okay, yeah, early dinner.
Yep.
I think I might do that as well.
Now there's a big lizard meetup on Saturday, right?
At the Polynesian, correct.
It's at the Poly this year.
Yes.
What time is that? Does anyone know?
I think it's around 2, but I don't quote me on that one.
And don't they have a golf event happening, like a miniature golf happening?
I think so, but I don't know what day or what time that is. I don't have that information.
I thought that was on Thursday, though. I thought somebody posted about that today. Yeah.
I meant to look that up before this. So, well, you guys are all going to Wine Bar George, and Tim and I are. This is really bizarre. The park that I think has the least, the quality of food I think is the lowest is at Magic Kingdom. Yet we're going to Magic Kingdom before the full marathon because Columbia Harbor House has a very simple salmon, white rice, and green beans, and it's very plain and it works really well for us. So we're going to actually go into Magic Kingdom, back over to Liberty Square just to go grab some dinner and then probably leave. So we may ride Haunted Mansion since it's right there if the line's not too long, but that's all we'll do. We won't do anything else. So and then we'll be early to bed that night, Saturday night. That's for certain.
I know Dave and I are looking at a Magic Kingdom day as well that day. I don't know how much we'll get accomplished or how we'll feel. Just kind of trying to be off our feet as much as we can, but also keep the legs moving. I know by Saturday, my legs were starting to get a little tight. Sitting sounds great, but the more I sat, the tighter my legs were getting after 3 days of this. So there's kind of a fine line between off your feet, but still kind of moving. So I think that's kind of our plan for a little bit on Saturday. And then obviously going over to the Springs. I'll probably get some Gideon's cookies to take home to my family because if I don't get the cookies, I'm going to be in big trouble whenever I come home. Get some cookies for Kevin. Wine Bar George, we ate there before the marathon last year on Saturday night, and it worked great.
So I've never been there. What do they specialize in?
We had a steak platter that the two of us shared easily, and then some. It's just sliced up steak. It had potatoes on one side. It had broccolini on the other side. So you get a little bit of vegetables, you get a little bit of protein, and then we ordered like the mac and cheese bites for an appetizer. So we got a little bit of carbs with it. Obviously, I didn't do any of the alcohol there, straight water and pumping full there. But so it worked out good for us, and it's a nice solid meal. The service is always great. So I think that's kind of the route I'm heading for that one. So
that would be torture for me to be in that restaurant and not drink wine. So
see, I'm okay with it.
that would be complete torture.
So yeah, so maybe hit the poly for the meetup right quick, and then over to
Yep, lots of options that day for sure.
Disney Springs. Yeah,
Meetups are always great on that Saturday. It's a lot of people. You get to see a lot of lizards and stuff, and then going to hang at the springs. That should be a good day.
hang in the springs.
I love the lizard meetup. That's one of my favorite. That's when I got my hair braided last year for
by Holly.
Yeah, by Holly. I was like, well, somebody braid my hair.
Yep, we were sitting at the little lounge for that.
Yep.
And actually, Holly and Carrie met us for dinner that night at Wine Bar George after they left you. So, all right, then early midnight that night. Again, Sunday morning, first bus, 3:00, sitting in the corrals, getting ready for the pool. Now, we didn't talk about costumes for the half. I assume no costumes, right? We're going straight.
No.
I was thinking for that day, maybe some duck gear. We all have our duck shirts. What are we thinking there?
I think a duck shirt.
Mine's a little big, so I need to figure that out between now and then.
Or we could place another order. Can we get a different? Well, we'll talk about that. Maybe a different design. Maybe a running duck.
We can look into options.
And then go with that.
Or a brighter color.
That's a good idea.
Yep, we can look at some options there. We got time to do that.
So that's for the half, right?
Yep, for the half.
As long as it's one of those moisture wicking shirts.
Like the last ones we ordered.
Which is good because that's Donald Race. So
yeah, that work out real good then.
So that's why we need the duck stuff.
Yep.
Duck gear.
Woohoo!
Who has their water bottle?
Mine's sitting on the counter in the kitchen.
Sitting right
there. Kevin, drink your water
right
bottle.
here. I've been drinking it all day.
All right, so now we're looking at the pool. I know for costumes for the pool, I am going straight lizard gear just because if I'm in a ditch somewhere, the bright yellow is easy to find, and people can get me pulled back up on my feet as necessary. So
I'm with you.
I got it. Same every year.
Lizard up. Yep.
And then, so we finished the race about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right? Like that. Yeah.
That's kind of what we're thinking as far as our completion.
Before dark. Just before dark. Yeah.
Baby.
We'll finish at the witching hour.
So what's the plan for after the marathon? What are you guys thinking?
Probably die.
Ice on my legs. For sure.
Magic Kingdom, I think is what we initially said for some pictures. The front of the castle, around the hub grass, all that kind of good stuff.
Like I said earlier, I know that's Dave's first marathon. It's his first Dopey. You're at Disney World. You got to take the pictures of the castle. I mean, it's the thing.
It's mandatory.
I know I asked you the other day about if there was any announcement on what the Lizards were planning on doing. Because Kevin, I know last year you and I went to the dessert party with everybody at Magic Kingdom, and that was a great experience. I really enjoyed that. I thought the desserts were nice. It was nice to just chat with everybody and relax and hang out. So has something been announced yet, or have I missed it? Or
yes, they're doing Epcot. Well, at least they're harmonious. They're saying, at least that's the message I read this morning when I was scrolling through the Lizard page. But I think they have Epcot as Sunday's day to see harmonious.
Got it.
So I don't know if they're doing a dessert party or what, but yeah.
Right. I know for me, I'm fortunate that we are at Copper Creek and we're not flying out till Monday. So my Magic Kingdom experience will be much more comfortable walking around post race than it was last year. So I'll have full attire available to me.
All pieces of clothing.
All layers of clothing will be available prior to heading to the parks.
Good plan.
So yeah.
But I think that's the plan for wandering around Magic Kingdom. And
I guess we just grab some meat
goes
in there, right? I mean, a couple of snacks in there until we decide. Or if do you guys want to do a formal dinner, or where's your head?
We went last year to Crystal Palace, and I gotta say, I was thinking I was going to be starving, but the longer the day went, I just didn't feel like eating there. So I think that day is going to kind of be hit and miss for me as far as how I'm going to feel if I want to do a sit down meal, spend that money on something where I just don't feel like eating, or just kind of pick my way through Magic Kingdom. I don't know.
That's the way I always am after a full. I don't want to eat. I'm not starving. I kind of a little snacky, but I'm not. It's the day after that I'm hungry. But that actual day of the full, I'm not ready to eat my arm. I don't know what it is.
I think it's all the water you drink, and
it's all
your body's kind of tired. Don't even want to just eat. Because I found even yesterday after the 17-mile, I wasn't hungry at all.
Did you guys drink water during the full? I think I missed those. Apparently, that was
water stops.
Apparently, that was part of my issue for the next several months.
Yeah. This time, I'll remind you to drink.
Every water station. Jeff, did you get your water? Yes, Lonnie.
Every single one.
I actually, that's when Kevin, I just sent you the picture of that sodium pill too that I took, or whatever. I took that. I remember taking that at Magic Kingdom at Animal Kingdom, making sure that I was, because it got hot that day. So
that was around Animal Kingdom that time of day. Oof, it was rough right there.
It got warm. And maybe the Yeti will be open. And maybe I'll get to ride it. That's like my marathon goal, is to ride the Yeti on the race.
I would love to feel comfortable enough that we have a big enough buffer by the time we get there that we could do it, but I don't know. Last year it wasn't. If it was open, we went through last year, that buffer wasn't there in my mind to feel comfortable enough to do it.
It's a lot later in the race than it used to be. It used to be right at the half, and now it's like 17, 18 miles. So it takes a little bit longer to get there.
Yeah. Yep.
So Sunday evening, we're wandering around Magic Kingdom, maybe watch some fireworks, maybe shut down the park, maybe bounce to Epcot if it's open later after Magic Kingdom. I know Kevin's got no park hopper, but we're just kind of playing that by ear a little bit, see how tired we are and kind of go from there and kind of say goodbyes, I guess, for another marathon weekend. Because what do you guys fly out Monday morning? Everybody flying home Monday?
Monday
morning.
Not the Binnings. The Binnings are staying all day Monday to play. And then we'll go out for an epic dinner Monday night. Our hope is to go to Cali Grill because it's our favorite. And then we fly out Tuesday morning. So we did that last year. I really loved that. That it felt like a day of vacation where everything else, it was like checking off the boxes, getting it done, waking up early, doing this, doing that. So I'm lucky enough that my parents said yes, we could stay for another day so they can watch the kids. So we actually don't fly out till Tuesday.
That's funny how that works. You still have to ask permission for stuff like that, even at this point in your life.
At 7 years old, have to ask your parents for permission for things. Yes.
I know we fly out early Monday morning, and I think about 8 o'clock or so. Not super early, but early enough. And then
it was the old Magical Express days. If you had a 8 a.m. flight, you'd have to be on the bus at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Magical Express.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
So how's everybody feel about the planning? I know we got some rough ideas laid out. We don't have full details on everything, but everybody comfortable with what we're doing? Any major changes you think we should make? It sounds like a great trip to me.
Yeah, I'm excited. So when is the deadline? So if we're getting in on Wednesday, when
we get on Tuesday, so me and Dave can kind of start booking the reservations.
Jeff gets to book a day earlier than us. Okay. So lucky me, I don't know if I shared all this with you all. I'm going to be in California during booking window. So that's going to be Pacific time as opposed to East Coast time. And my girlfriend, who I'm sharing a room with, is probably not going to be really happy when I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make dining reservations. So that would be great. So that's going to be fun.
The good thing is we'll actually be at Wine and Dine. So
yeah, that happened to Tim and I last year. We were at Wine and Dine. We ran the 5K really fast on purpose to get back to the bus to make our reservations for Marathon Weekend. I completely remember that. Like, we were not going to run the 5K. Well, first it was pouring rain, so we kind of wanted to run it to get it over with. But then second of all, I'm like, we got to go make our dining reservations. We have to hurry up. So we were on the bus at like 5:55 in the morning because I'm like, we got to make our reservations.
The good thing is, though, none of the reservations we're going for are like the big sell out quick.
We're not going for
have it right away.
or Space 220 or
right. So that's an advantage to what we're booking here. The other thing is, by me and Dave coming on Tuesday, we have that extra day ahead of the people coming in on Wednesday, which is most of the people coming in for the weekend will get there Wednesday.
That's true.
So between the two of us, we can get bigger parties at the same time. Not all sit together on every meal, but if we have the same time between the two, it should work out okay. So, but I think definitely advantage. So,
yeah, I think we got a nice little plan here.
I do too.
I can't wait.
Like we said, we'll have this out there. We'll have some discussion heading into the weekend. So any of the listeners that want to meet up or join us for anything, let us know. We'll be around. We only charge a little bit for autographs, so it's not too bad.
The rarest one to get is Jeans, because he's going to sign it in the South America Pavilion. So you got to find him first.
Yes.
It's suspiciously by Canada, though. All right. Anything about this trip you guys want to add before we move on to our favorite segment of the weekend? All right.
No, I think we're good.
All right. If we're good, then let's move on to our favorite segment of the weekend. Let's do some quacking up with the ducks. So, Kevin, what's your joke for the day?
Mine's a little bit on traveling. So recently I was at the airport and I saw a man actually collapse on the luggage carousel. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But he slowly came around.
All right, Lonnie, what do you got for us?
Well, it's funny. We talk about all this extra mileage that we're doing and all that kind of stuff. So I went over to the hospital. I was like, you know what? I think I need to get some tests just to make sure everything's good. So I went to a room and there was a dog in there, right? And I said, why is this dog sitting in this room? And the lady told me, she said, well, a lot of people come in here and think that the dog can operate the MRI machine. He can't, but cats can.
All right, Jodie, can you beat that?
Oh, I don't know. I'll try. But I know quite a few of us were watching some football games yesterday, even though the best team wasn't playing, but we were rooting against some other teams. So it was an exciting day of football, which had me thinking about why was Cinderella so bad at football? No? Because she had a pumpkin for a coach.
That is good. That's big. That's good.
So, following kind of along Jodie's lines of jokes for that, we are recording this on October 16th. So, following the football, my joke of the day is Bama.
That's the best one.
Nice.
Apparently, my dog doesn't like that.
So, all right. So, Lonnie.
Yes.
Anything for our socials? Anything new or exciting on there? Anything happening or reviews? Anything like that? Have you seen?
I haven't. So my ask is, if you're enjoying the show, please come on, give us a review, 5 stars. If we want to get better, so you could feel free to reach out to us, send us a text message, send us an email. If you don't like the show, don't leave a review. You will hurt Jeff's feeling. Unfortunately, our Ducks After Dark page was shut down. You could blame my wife for that, as well as our Duck Tender page. Blame her for that as well. But we're on Instagram. We're on Facebook with @Disney with the Ducks. On both, like, subscribe. We'd love to have you part of the community.
Absolutely. So on behalf of all of the other Ducks that aren't here today and the ones who are going to be joining us Marathon Weekend, we appreciate you listening, and Kwaherini, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
May the force be with you.
For the noodles are a side dish to almost every meal that we have, like just buttered noodles with salt and pepper on them. It's what we do. And we were talking to one of our friends that lives in Vermont, and he says, "What are you talking about? Spaghetti?" was like, no, it's not spaghetti. He goes, you don't put like marinara sauce or Alfredo? I said, no. And apparently it's not a thing everywhere else. It's very popular here, but
no, sir.
We have restaurants that do noodles over mashed potatoes, and that's what you can order. That. It's a giant plate of mashed potatoes with a giant scoop of noodles on top.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah.
What's the lifespan there? 12?
Yes. Let's cover our starch with more starch.
We like our carbs. All right. So who's leading this shindig? And what's our question? What?
Lonnie is. Lonnie's leading.
I think we should have Jodie B lead because she is a master of planning.
She does not look happy with that.
No, she does not. She is giving me the eye.
So Lonnie says, I think anybody but Jodie B should lead because she turned me down.
I think Kevin should rock this.
My mind just completely blanked. As you're going towards
Pandora?
Nope, straight ahead.
Tree of Life?
The Safari.
This is a Disney podcast.
Yeah.
You mean a Pizza Safari, the Starbucks?
No, as you're going